All right, I apologize. This is like the third time I'm filming this. I've had a few technical difficulties. Hopefully we've got it right this time. This is my Ironman Cozumel race report. I'm going to video it because I want to make sure that people don't read it in a different tone or different light. I want you to hear the words that are coming out of my mouth and not putting your own slant or tone on it. So, with that said, Cozumel was a great experience. I learned a lot despite having done 86 other Ironmans before. This sport is amazing and it demands a ton of respect. If we're the newest competitor or a seasoned veteran, which I consider myself to be. I've done a lot of racing. I've done a ton of training. I've done a ton of coaching. But I'm human and I'm still learning and growing and evolving and trying to be the best athlete I can be. I had a great training camp with my coach David. I did everything that I could with the circumstances that I was given. Now, anybody that knows me knows that I hate excuses, and I'm the first person to own the mistakes that I made and not have excuses for why things happened. Now, with that said, this is my best explanation as to what happened. Not an excuse at all, not a reason of why things happened, but this is just, for me, why I think things transpired the way that they did. Got to Cozumel, brought the kids with us. That was awesome, man. The kids had a blast. They loved it. But family trip, Ironman trip, all of it. We like to combine family with our training and everything we do. Anyways, kids had a great time. We had a house right there on the beach. So cool. But got there, felt really, really good. Did all the right things leading up to race day. Great nutrition, eliminated caffeine, did all my taper right, hit all my workouts leading up to it. To the best that I could with my travel schedule and everything in real life and blah, blah, blah. We're all busy, I get it, no excuses. Got to check in at the race site and morning of, perfect weather. I've done Cozumel before, weather was perfect. T2 is, or T1 rather, is a mile and a half from the, or 2.5 miles from the swim start. So you set up your bike bag stuff and then they bus you down to the start. So we put the air in our tires, put our nutrition on our bike. I started with 2 bottles and some bars in my bag. I was going to use the aid stations as aid on the bike course. Worked really hard on my nutrition over my career. I really know what I'm doing with that, and I'm comfortable with my fueling strategy. So we get on the buses and head down with our morning bag that we're going to put our clothes in, and then we drop the bag off, go to the swim start. That bag ends up at the finish line. So I get to the swim start with my bag. In my bag is my swim stuff, and then I'm going to take off my other stuff and put it in the bag. Okay, so I get down to the swim start. The swim skin that I was going to use was too small. I'm a little heavier now than I was during the 50, and so the medium no longer fits me, and I needed the large. It was just too tight on my neck, and so I was going to swim in just my tri-shorts and no top. I made a mistake, and I forgot to leave my top in my T1 bag or my bike bag, and so when I got down to the swim start, I was still wearing the top. And Casey and I went back and forth. Should I stuff it in my shorts? Casey offered to wear it and stuff it in his swim skin and drop it on my bike, and then I'm like, well, that's outside assistance, or possibly could be. I didn't want to mess with that. Don't want to mess up Casey's race, so I said, no, let's not do that. A friend of mine, Audra, was on the line. We lined up in the chute around 1 hour, and I told her my dilemma, and she suggested I tuck it up like a sports bra, but that way it would eliminate the drag from the pockets. And I said, great idea, let's do that. So super excited to solve the problem. I also was supposed to leave a GPS beacon tracker in the bag so that I could take it on the bike. You're not supposed to swim with it. So I apologize. I posted a link for people to track me, and then left the beacon in my morning bag, which stayed in the same spot all day. So I apologize for that. That didn't work out. Total rookie mistake. Jumped in the water, off the dock into the water. Casey, and Billy all jumped in together, and they took off immediately. I anticipated on swimming about 5 minutes slower than those two guys, and I'm swimming, and I'm about halfway through the swim, and my jersey's cutting me up pretty bad, neck, underneath my arms, and it was becoming uncomfortable. The salt water was rubbing in between. But Ironman Cozumel has the best swim on the circuit. I absolutely love it. Crystal clear water. Water temperatures are great. It's nice and warm, real buoyant. And so just one of my favorite swims. This is my 4th year doing the race. So I'm swimming, I'm getting cut up, I'm uncomfortable, and I'm starting to get a pain in my right leg. And halfway through I look over and I see some Iron Cowboy team shorts. And I was like, oh great, I'm swimming with, or close to, Casey or Billy. And then I thought, no, they're both wearing swim skins. It couldn't possibly be one of them. And it turns out it was my buddy Kyle, who was doing an Ironman, who's on the team. And no offense to Kyle, but I should smoke you in the water and be 5, 10, maybe 15 minutes ahead of you. And I can only attribute this to me having a bad swim, him having a great swim, and possibly catching a bad current. There's different slots in going down the point-to-point swim, and maybe I caught a bad current, but then we're beside each other, so we're in the same current. I was just having a bad swim. I got out of the water, and hour 14, just really subpar, about 10 minutes slower than what I should be, but it didn't put me out of attaining the goal that I wanted to achieve that day, which was sub 10 hours. And I quickly do my transition like I'm doing a sprint triathlon. I'm in full race mode. I jump on my bike, and Ironman Cozumel is fast. It starts out quick, and it's quick the whole time until you hit the south side of the island, and then the winds really pick up. And the winds pick up every single loop, and nailed everything on the first loop. Nailed my nutrition, real consistent power output, real consistent on the pedals, my balance left to right, 50.1, 49.9, so really consistent left to right. I stayed in aero a ton, just cutting out of the wind. Got to the second loop, and the wind's starting to pick up on the south side of the island. Passed Sunny and my friends a couple times, which boosts your energy level. And I'm just really executing my race strategy. I had really worked hard on dialing in my bike fit. Worked with Precision Bike fitting here in Utah, and just felt really good about the bike fit. Was really comfortable on the Fazari, and loved the new Reynolds wheels I'm rolling, the tubeless. They're fast, and they give me tons of confidence knowing I'm not going to flat, or the chances are very, very slim. Just ran 95 psi in them. Tons of stability around the corners. Just a great wheel setup, and the Infinity saddle that we're working on, super comfortable. No issues there. Anyways, into the second loop of the bike, I'm still right on track. I'm hitting my watts, really consistent. Heart rate's exactly where I want it to be. Again, I'm still fueling really, really well. I got to the back half of the third loop, and the wind is up, and it is howling, and it's a dead headwind. And I'm thinking, just think small, cut through this and stay in aero. And as I'm progressing through the entire bike course, my right leg is continuing to go numb on me, and I'm starting to lose feeling. And I can feel my back tightening up, my lower back, and I'm trying to keep it loose, and it's just not getting loose at all. And so I'm losing feeling in my right side. My back is really starting to get tight. And at 4 hours and 12 minutes, both my adductors start to grab. That's the big muscle in the inner part of my leg. And they start to grab, and so I've got to shut down the power a little bit. My heart rate's starting to climb a little bit as the air temperature gets a little bit hotter. But so I'm trying to stay aero. I'm trying to stay out of the wind. My abductors are grabbing, and I'm trying to get them to release. But all of my power and heart rate and everything are looking on par and good. I'm coming into Oh, I brought some caffeine with me that I was saving for the third loop. That would help me on the run. I cut out caffeine 2 weeks before the race, and so that was going to be a great kick in the pants. And so strategically, coming in on that third stretch, I started to take a little bit of caffeine. But as I'm biking in, the pain or the numbness in my leg keeps getting worse and worse and worse. And so I was a little bit concerned, and in my mind, I was just like, okay, if I can get to transition and start running, then we'll be okay. And I approach transition area, and I go to get off my bike, and as soon as I step off the bike, I fall over. And they took my bike, and they had great volunteers that caught the bike and took it away. And I kind of pick myself up off the ground, and I pull myself up with the railing, and they help me up, and I kind of stumble into a transition area. Well, I couldn't stand up totally straight, and my back had completely tightened up and seized on me, and it had pinched a nerve in the right side of my leg, was numb, and I couldn't feel it. It was just why I fell over. And so I'm laying there in transition, and I'm trying to make a decision on what I'm going to do, and I decide that I need medical help, and they come help me out, and they take me into the med tent, and my lower back was cramping, right on the right lower side, which was sending pain and numbness down my right leg. And so I headed into Cozumel with the intention of breaking 10 hours. And that was my why. That was my reason for doing the race. I've done a dozen Ironmans to start with 10. I've done a dozen Ironmans to start with 11. I've done a dozen Ironmans to start with 12. And so I'd love to do one that starts with a 9. And that was my only reason for going to do this. I don't need to hear Mike Riley say you are an Ironman. That's no longer my why. I've checked the crossing the finish line box. I've had that experience over and over again, and it's an unbelievable experience, and I want people to know what that feels like and to experience that. But for me personally, that wasn't why I did this race, and I could have figured out a way to get up and put my shoes on and go slugfest for 26.2 miles, but I had less than zero desire to go do that. In the 50, I talk about your why, your reason for doing something, and we all have different whys. And I talk about the strength of and the reason to have more than one why, because sometimes your one why isn't strong enough, and you have to pull out another why and add it to the first one in order to make the reason why you're doing something big enough. I had a bag full of whys on the 50. I had a lot of reason to keep moving and to keep putting the next foot in front of the other. And when I was sitting there and I had one why, and I didn't have any other whys to add to it, I just didn't want to do it. And call me a quitter, call me whatever you want. I don't care, because I'm at peace with the decision to not continue. I went out there and I was going to have to run a sub 3:30 marathon, which was going to be pushing my run ability at the time. And with the back issues that I was having, I didn't think it was possible. And it's a choice that I consciously made. Now, this isn't an excuse, but after a lot of thinking and deliberating on my training and everything, the only thing that I can think of after doing 86 Ironmans, and this never happening to me before, about 6 weeks prior to the event, it was actually the night of the film documentary release here in Utah. And for any of you that are interested, the documentary is now out on Vimeo. You can go there, search Iron Cowboy, bring it up. You can rent it for, I think, $6.99. And you can watch it, and it tells a great story and a lot of things that we went through in the summer. But about 6 weeks ago, Sonny and I were T-boned. We were in a car accident, and it was pretty violent. Our car was written off. The lady struck Sonny's door and pushed us into oncoming traffic. And luckily, it wasn't worse. We were both wearing our seatbelts, but we're both still suffering from that accident, and it impacted my training. On my long rides, I wasn't able to go fully into aero as long as I wanted to, which impacted and had an effect on me being in aero for a little over 5 hours. And so all of that together is the only thing that I can think of with the experience that I've had and the other things that I've experienced that was a huge contributing factor to what I was feeling, which ultimately crippled me in this race. And so, not making excuses, that's just an explanation as to what possibly could have happened and why my back reacted the way that it did and shut down my right leg. And so I've been getting worked on. I went to the doctor today and had to work on it for 90 minutes, and it's still really, really tight. And it's great. It's December, it's Christmas, it's the holidays. And so I'm obviously taking a break from training, and we've got some big plans for next year. But I went into the medical tent after turning over my timing chip, and my back was spasming, and they were like, we need to give you an IV. And they pumped me with three bags of IVs. They wouldn't let me go until my back would stop spasming, which is completely ironic because some of you may or may not know, but in 2015, coming off of the 50, I was suspended by WADA for taking an IV outside of a medical facility. And after doing not even a full Ironman, 2/3 of an Ironman, they gave me 3 bags of IV on site. And so it's a silly rule. I'm glad that they lifted the suspension and have since rewritten that rule. So thank you, WADA. But it just obviously made no sense to us at the time why we were being suspended. Anyways, that's all been resolved. That full story is also in the documentary. You may want to check that out. So I was hoping that Cozumel, in my dream scenario, I was going to go to Cozumel in shape, which I did. Unfortunately, that car accident 6 weeks ago impacted us. I was hoping and still optimistic that I could go there, break 10 hours, and then I would join the 9-hour club and kind of walk away from WTC Ironman racing. Now I have some pretty dirty unfinished business, and so we've sat down as a team and a family and decided that Ironman Maryland is what we're going to try to do our next assault on. Still, see, my back is spasming right now. Despite everything that I experienced and went through, and I still chalk it up as a massively positive experience. A fantastic thing that happened was I also took 7 friends and athletes on Team Iron Cowboy. All 7 of them produced personal bests, and Billy qualified for Kona, and Casey just missed qualifying. He needed about 12 minutes faster, which he didn't get, and he had a really bad run, and he still ran a 3:26, but he's capable of running a 3 flat. And so we're still working with Casey. If I'm going to throw out a guarantee, I'm going to guarantee that Casey qualifies in Maryland in 2017. I've never seen someone be so diligent. I'm so proud of Casey for the work ethic that he produced and just nailed the training and did such a great job. And we're coming off of this build, and we'll build again, and he'll be ready come Maryland. Aaron Wingman number 2 also did the race. He should have a race report up here. He kind of got distracted a little bit. He got married, and we're super stoked for Aaron for getting married and convincing a girl to say yes. But he also wants redemption, and he PR'd in an Ironman, but we haven't seen the best of Aaron yet, and he's still young. He's in his 20s. But all in all, Cozumel was an unbelievable experience, one that I'm super proud of, despite it being my first DNF in 87 attempts. It's an amazing sport. Like I said at the beginning, I'm still learning, I'm still growing. But that's just the beauty of it. That's why we do Ironman. That's why we continue to pursue excellence. It's one of those races. It's one of those sports that I don't know if we'll ever perfect it. It's just a continual journey of growth and challenge. And I'm excited for a fantastic year in 2017. Team Iron Cowboy is growing strong. We're adding members every single day. The documentary came out. It's on Vimeo. You can go check it out. You can pre-order the book right now. That comes out in March, but you can pre-order it right now on Barnes & Noble and Amazon. We've got the Doxa Relay that we did this year. We're going to do it again next year. Watch for a video this week from the race we did this year. We had a crew that came out and filmed us. We were a 6-man team. If you think you can come beat us, I'd love for you to sign up. Rates go up at the end of this month, and so you've got about 3 weeks to convince your friends to come out to Utah, watch the Doxa video. Some pretty spectacular scenery. Anyways, loved Cozumel, don't regret a thing. I'm content with it. Judge me, don't judge me. I don't care. I'm still me. I'm still honest. I'm still real. I'm still going to work as hard as I can. This race alone does not define me. It's a lifetime's worth of work, dedication, and excellence. So we'll talk to you guys later. See ya.